Virgo, last month I was concerned about you. I identified that you probably have a substance addiction and that you were struggling with it. I mean, so many things in your life are good and you've got right, but there was this substance addiction. And I think I was right, because now we have the temperance energy dominating this month. I think this is you beating that addiction. I think that's what it's about. It's about you finally addressing it, moving on in your life. In the past, your life has been often characterised by looking for money, and of course, if you've had a substance addiction, maybe seeking money has dominated your life. And now your heart is full of love. You're wearing your heart on your sleeve. You are open to abuse from it, but you know, love is a great way to beat anything. It really is. In the future, you're going to go inside yourself looking for answers, turn your back on what you've known, and again, a wonderful thing to be doing. What leads to the outcome is you putting up boundaries. And these could be boundaries towards yourself, you know, don't touch it. But I think they're also boundaries to your old friends, that you don't want to go near them. And boundaries to not visit the old places you used to visit before. Perfectly sensible thing to be doing. What you must do, though, and I don't think you're doing it that effectively, or it'd be quicker. If you did this, it would be quicker. And that is to bury your past and to completely move on. And I think you're finding it difficult to do that because, you know, if I'm right about this substance abuse, and it looks like I am, it's all bound up in your past life, and you must leave your past life behind. What I think you actually do is you put up these boundaries and you fill your heart full of love, and you're quite sophisticated in understanding your own motivation and those of others. And I think you'll probably get there, but it's not without the soul searching that comes after this month. Whereas simply moving on, I think you'd get there quicker. There you go. If I was right last month about substance abuse, what I can see this month is you really are beginning to beat it. You've turned your back on hedonism and leading a much more temperate lifestyle. In other words, you know, I think you've gone cold turkey, or you've given it up, whatever. You're moving on from it. You know, you're recognising that your life now must change, and it must change towards a life that, I was going to use the word highs. Well, let's keep using it. A life less dominated by highs and lows. A life less dominated by chaos. Yeah, there won't be those wonderful, joyous times again, but there won't be those lows. And that's what you're having to embrace now. Now, I do think I'm right about this substance abuse, and your past was often characterised by having to find enough money to feed your habit. Now, I've never seen it as being that bad, but that's certainly the energy that's coming here about the past, seeking wealth, always going out and seeking wealth. And even that will change. You no longer need to do that, and you're realising that you no longer need to do that. And wealth or money is no longer so important. What matters is real friendship and love. So you're moving on from your old lifestyle, and that is super important. You do seem this month to be doing so many things that are right. I have a little criticism later, but it's minor, you know. You're doing so much that is right. You filled your heart full of love. You're wearing your heart on your sleeve. You're being brutally honest with yourself and with others. It does leave you vulnerable, but at a time like this, maybe vulnerability isn't such a bad thing. After all, you'd drowned out your vulnerability in the past, and now you're having to live with it exposed. So it is a time of massive, massive change for you, a massive, massive adaptation. But you are adapting well. And I applaud you, I really do. Now in the future, you're going to have to do some real soul searching, some real shadow work on yourself. I think, to be honest, this is a necessary step. You've got to do this, whatever. But there is, and this is my only criticism here, there is the suggestion of something of a shortcut. But, I think this has to take place. It won't be until after this month. This month is about you overcoming what you wear. You're taking the first tentative steps towards real recovery. Whereas this soul searching really is about recovery. It really is about how your life is going to be from now on. So it's a big issue, this one. So I think it has to happen, but it's not going to happen this month. Now you're achieving what you are achieving through putting up boundaries. I think it's through abstinence, maybe even cold turkey, and maybe you want to use the word cold turkey. I did disclose last month that my first wife was a heroin addict, and she battled with it. Well, she battled it for most of her life. It cost us our marriage. But for quite some time she was on methadone, and it's no way of beating it. Methadone, you become addicted to methadone. And I think actually methadone is like something that an addict will grab, because it's like, well, you can have this for free, and they sort of grab at it, but it's feeding their addiction, really. And the other sort of cold turkey you've got to do is you've got to stop mixing with the same people. So you've got to change your life. You've got to stop going to the same places. That's really difficult, if your life is, up until this day, has been dominated by certain types of places, be they nightclubs or bars or whatever, and now to say, well, you don't go to them. These are massive changes, massive challenges for you, but I think you are responding to them. Now, really, and this is where the criticism comes in, and it's advice, if you like. The only real way that you're going to beat this, that this is going to be successful, is you putting your past behind you, you moving on. So it's not just about not seeing the same people and going to the same places, but it's about you no longer wanting to even. You absolutely changing your life. That's a very, very difficult thing to do. I had a heart attack in February, and I've had to change my life as a result. And it's difficult, it's difficult, because you need to get, high's the wrong word, but you need to get enjoyment from things that you previously really didn't enjoy. You need to eat different food and enjoy it. Eat healthy food. You need to live a healthy lifestyle and actually enjoy it. So it's not just a question of stopping doing things. It's actually getting your fun from the alternatives, and that's where the real difficulty lies, and you ultimately do have to embrace this. Now look, I don't want to take anything from you, Virgo. I always call you Venus, I don't know why. But you are making incredible steps forwards, incredible. You're doing the right things, so don't listen to my last little speech. You've filled your heart full of love, but in doing so, you're really beginning to understand yourself. As I say, you're later going to explore your shadow, but you're beginning to scratch at that even. Scratch at what motivates you and what has motivated you in the past and what's going to motivate you in the future. So you're doing so many things that are right. You're going to get there. I've got confidence in you, Virgo. I really do. So pat yourself on the back, Every day is a new day. And every day, I know is a struggle, but every day you win. Virgo, last month I identified that you might have got a problem with substance abuse, and I think it's all been confirmed this month. Let me first of all say that you're doing extremely well. You've realised that you have to give up hedonism. In fact, I believe you've gone cold turkey. I believe you've identified what you want to do and you're actually doing it, and fair play to you. Your past was characterised by always seeking money, and now you realise that the future is about love. Above all, love for yourself. You need, and you're putting up boundaries to yourself and boundaries to others, but these boundaries include not touching what it is you were addicted to, not mixing with the same people and not going to the same places. And you're managing to do that, and that creates quite a profound change in you, but I'm not underestimating how difficult it must be for you. You're beginning to understand your own psychology, your own motivation, what makes you tick, but you're going to have to, and this is the future, go much deeper into that. You're going to have to understand what is your shadow and how to resolve it. I'm taking a very sort of anti-addiction type of stance here. And, my first wife was a heroin addict. And I hope I'm not sounding that way. Addiction is a normal state for the human person. And that's why so much of capitalism now is all about getting us addicted to different things. So I'm not taking that moral judgment on it, but what I am saying is when you're addicted, there are certain things that you need to do, certain changes you need to make, and you're making them, you're doing well, you're understanding. But often at the root of these addictions are some sort of childhood trauma, and you are going to have to scratch and uncover that in the future. There is a quicker way of doing these things, and I don't want to imply that this is a criticism of you, but that quicker way is moving on, changing your life completely, not even yearning for your old life. So getting strokes from things that previously you wouldn't have considered exciting, enjoyable. You're going to have to enjoy much simpler things and move on. My heart goes out to you, Virgo, but you're doing well.